the waterfalls and such.
Yeah. What level is it?
Same level as you.
Oh, downloaded the attack stat of crew. Okay, well, we're switching to Trogdor. Or Turgdur. I wonder if you ever played Shadow of the Colossus. Nope. At some point, we will sit down and play that game. But that's like a 6-10 hour session kind of game. As opposed to a, oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Guess we're using cake.
Ah, 1 HP. Uh-oh. There you go.
Cake.
You do have plenty of cake.
Okay. So I'm curious if this is considered a new area. No.
Mm-mm.
It is not. Mildly tragic, but whatever.
Yeah, I think until we get to another city and then back out onto the paths again, then that new path would be considered a new area. Ah! You didn't even take a step!
Yep.
Oh! It's cute!
A swarmy.
Swarm.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm really liking these critter designs. They're charming. And cohesive? Like, they all feel like they kind of belong in the same world. Pokemon started to feel kind of...
The mechanical one, though? I don't know where that would have come from.
Yeah, it's fair.
Because I can see the bird and
It
the
still
worm
matches,
and
though.
the armadillo.
It matches so much more than Vanillish.
Ugh.
Or even, like, Magnemite.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I hope we don't, like, just run into a...
Really nice.
I was gonna say a rival battle.
Oh, a rival battle? Oh, yeah.
Well, if we get wrecked by our rival, then we'll just come back with a vengeance when the game fully comes out. Or we just
I'm
heal...
pretty sure you'll be okay. I never liked it when the older Pokemon games would spring the rival on you after you had been through a very long tunnel
I bet this is going to be like exactly like that. There we go.
I suppose just make sure that your Coromon are healed up every once in a while.
Yeah, if it's down by...
Oh yeah, you need a heal up crew.
Yeah.
Crew.
Can I check anything on that rock? No. Well, we can do at least one more fight. If we get ambushed by a rival, we'll probably be wrecked. I have a lot of healing items, so hopefully I can kind of use that to my favor. Oh, shoot.
Did you choose the wrong attack?
No, I'm almost out of SP.
Oh. Well, you do have cake for that, too.
I do have cake. That's a problem.
Yep.
It'd be lovely if it was on fire. Oh, I can have it rest. For free
so
SP.
that way you get SP back, but it means you lose a turn.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I'll just have it cake up. Probably should have started with the SP cake first. Now that I'm thinking about it. Oh well.
Well, this ensures that you have HP for the next couple turns.
Eek.
Yeah, people are mentioning
Pricey.
Temtem. Yeah, we played Temtem.
Yep. We have a lot of videos on Temtem.
Yeah, we just didn't... We didn't get to have the experience we wanted with it because they hadn't implemented
They didn't
co-op.
add co-op until, like, late fall. Ooh. Well, that was at least worth a lot of EXP.
And it was a lot of fun, at least for me, because the team that I had made during our little time with the beta or the demo, or what was it? Was it an alpha or a beta?
More or less.
I was able to have a couple of
You had some bruisers. I was stuck.
I had some Temtem that had a combo, though, where if you have... Because Temtem has you with 2 out at a time, they're specifically supposed to work together. So if you're playing in a co-op situation, one person has each. But when you're playing solo... Wait. Oh. Is he asking you for a Buzzy?
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be able to catch one for him. But the specific Temtem that I had a combo move that would boost each other. And it was really powerful.
So I would say both games are probably very valid.
Oh, I like how they have a different healer per town.
Yeah. Yeah, like...
This is very ranch-like.
This is absolutely the game for people that grow up with Pokemon in... I'm going to say, like, on the DS, or Game Boy Advance to, like, 3DS era.
So you're gonna have to catch this?
I can't.
Are you sure? Because this looks like a different area?
It's still Radiant's, Radiant Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, burned.
Yeah, Ruby Sapphire is what this feels like. Yeah, and for me, that's actually a really good feeling. Mainly just because, like, that...
Are you still gonna try, though, just in case this farm is a new area?
Yeah, I mean, it'll stop me before, but I'm 90%... Yeah, see?
Yeah, okay.
I'll have to go to the next area along the way. But yeah, I don't know, this feels good to me because this is, like, the peak of when I was playing Pokemon. I played a lot of OG Red, Blue, and Silver, but I feel like the series really did peak somewhere between the Game Boy Advance and 3DS, because they really, like, managed to kind of get the core gameplay down, add some extra mechanics, keep things fresh, and also the better visuals looked really nice. The older games do not look great.
Do you want something I haven't seen yet? You know how you're grinding right now, and most likely will be over-leveled for gyms, your rival, etc.?
Yeah.
Has there ever been a game where your rival actually has leveled as much as you have? Where you can't...
I know there are definitely games that introduce level scaling. The easiest one I can talk about would actually be... actually, Monster Sanctuary, another Monster Collection game. They actually scale the monsters that you fight to your current level. So whenever you enter like a room, for example, depending on what the general levels your team like is, it'll scale it accordingly. So say if you have like a bunch of level 20s, this area, like the room, would become level 20s. And so when you come back later, they'd stay level 20s. And so that means all gym fights are generally scaled to what your current level is. I think you can like go back and then leave and come back, I think. And it'll get you, Ooh, he's faster than me. That's bad.
People are asking about whether or not they'll be sued by Game Freak.
Highly doubtful.
It's one of those things where every design element, I mean, not every design element per se, but look at the way that they've assembled the UI, even how you enter battle with the almost the da-da-da-da-da-da-da with the you know, exclamation point and the screen swirling into the new setting and such. I think it's too derivative, and it's one of those things where I really just wish that people, if they want to do a turn-based Monster Collection fighting game, fine, but make it...
I will say, this is not illegal levels of similarity. It is very similar, but it's not illegal.
But when you start having professors with tree names and the mother seeing you off, and unfortunately,
I could see American companies suing over this.
I just question why someone would make this. And I'm sorry to the developers of this game, but
I would like it if they switched it up more.
That could be better, and then it would be something truly your own.
Well, that's why I keep bringing up Monster Sanctuary, because that truly is like a unique monster collection. Whereas this is like this is absolutely and unapologetically Pokemon. But like, I would rather this than Pokemon fan games, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, sure, this is still derivative, but at least this is trying to somewhat stand on its own, as opposed to just being like, it's Pikachu, but like our sprites.
But we've already seen a Caterpie and a Spearow, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mixed feelings on that. Mainly comes down to just like,
if you're gonna put so much effort into making a game, make it something original. That's just my deal. It's the same with movies, it's the same with art.
Yeah. But again, I will stand by my statement of this is a very close homage, but like, how many different Mario clones have existed over the years and, you know, kind of gone on to become their own thing? I mean, if it was illegal to copyright this kind of thing, Bubsy would have just gotten sued into the dust. See, not many Mario clones. There were tons of Mario clones back on the NES and SNES. It's just most of them were terrible.
But when it comes to the Mario ones, is it just side-scrolling while jumping up, hitting things, or jumping on top of enemies?
And like switching like different upgrades, kind of like the Fire Flower and so on and so forth. Nintendo actually managed to sue the makers of the Gianna Sisters. Really?
What's Gianna Sisters?
That's interesting. Must have been the original ones as opposed to the more recent results. Yeah, it was the original ones. Oh, well, yeah, freaking go figure.
What do you mean?
Oh,
blue backgrounds, towers.
Pull this over. Let's see. Probably not super easy to...
Do they even have spinning shells?
I mean, I'm just seeing a lot of the same hallmarks.
Yeah, but what's to distinguish that from Mario versus this in Pokemon? That's...
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, if it were to go out into a protracted court case, chances are Nintendo wouldn't actually win. What would probably happen is the developers would probably end up having to change a bunch of things, just because there's no way that they'd be able to, you know, do a long court case against Nintendo. And that's a whole different can of worms of like corporate bullying over certain things, but I don't want to...
People are talking about Lion King Kimba. Actually, growing up, I used to watch Leo the Lion, which was a sequel to Kimba. I think Leo was Kimba's son or grandson or something along those lines. But yeah, if you look at the similarities between the two of them, and actually I think Disney had been in talks with the creator of Kimba about maybe doing an adaptation, and he said no, and then they went on with Lion King anyway. But someone, I think, had made a really good video on YouTube about exact shots being replicated, even the design of Scar and everything else. It's just too uncanny.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kimba came first. It was, I think, a 60s? Or, yeah, I think it was that old.
So, one way or another, I'm gonna kind of ban this topic for a lot of quote-unquote clone games, just because this is not something that we really can even talk about too much. But legally, from what I know, this is not an illegal game. It is too close of a copy, and I wish they did more interesting things. Like an ATB gauge could make this kind of interesting. Or, yeah, reducing the amount of monsters that you're throwing at it at a time. Or...
Ooh. Mino.
Yeah.
Like a little...
Cute little burning thing.
A burning calf.
Well, definitely can't hit that with the fire move. But that's okay, I can hit it with the other one. But I would like to see them take these mechanics and at least come up with a couple of new immediate core things that aren't identical to Pokemon, just to make the game more distinct and interesting to new, well, not new players, but old players. I still like it as in terms of like, man, this is like straight out of my childhood, and it's kind of fun to play a Pokemon game or a Pokemon-like game that is challenging and feels fresh and new, and also sweet pixels and some other things.
I mean, what it's really saying is that Pokemon isn't cutting it for people, and they need to adapt to their ever-aging audience.
Correct.
And that things like this will keep cropping up if they're not seeing design elements.
I mean, I think this is going to crop up regardless. I think it's... Ow. I think it's absolutely unavoidable to... for games and developers and whatnot to have derivative indie games come out that are similar to them after X number of years. Mainly just because people like to imitate things that they like. I mean, I'm not going to deny that like half the stuff that I'm writing is like influenced by, and some people will, you know, go kind of off on their own and make something new and interesting, looking at like World of Final Fantasy or you know, Monster Sanctuary, where they really try and do something new. And then you're going to have some like much closer clones. What other easy examples do we have? Well, Aragon. I mean, that shamelessly ripped off a whole lot of different things.
Really, it was, they took the plot of Star Wars and the original trilogy, and they slapped it into a fantasy setting.
Yeah. Okay.
Where the Jedi were dragon riders, and...
So, I think I'm going to stop grinding, and I'm just going to go as hard as possible with what I've got. And if we lose Turkdur and crew, then so we go. Well, so it goes. Aragon was written by a 15-year-old.
Oh, I know,
so, you know.
but we were younger than him at the time, weren't we? I think I was still in elementary school when they came out.
He's not much older than us.
Right, which is what I'm saying, but he's a little bit older than us.
Yeah. I mean, it's still super impressive. Like, I will give mad credit for what that guy managed to accomplish. I mean, writing a best-selling novel, even if it's derivative, by the age of 15, like, that's nuts. And then, I wonder if I can catch anything in that field. I'll have to check.
Yeah, see, he is about 5 to 6 years older than us.
7 years older.
7 years? Okay.
Though then again, he also had, he also did have his parents helping out in some other things. I don't know. Let's see. One way or another. Let's stop talking about, like, this, just because I don't...
It's just unavoidable. Unfortunately, we're going to play through this game, and it's going to be unavoidable, the similarities, and I'm just going to keep going.
God damn it. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to knock this one out. Hopefully, I can catch whatever the next monster that comes by.
People are talking about Monster Rancher. I used to watch the anime.
Oh, new background, by the way. That is something I will continuously praise for this game. It seems like there's a new background for every zone that you go to. Because this is a farm now.
Wait, are you allowed to catch something new? Did you fail
I think
to?
so, but it's chucking nothing but Silquills at me. Now, I'm hoping that I'm hoping what the insane mode is you can only catch one Coromon per zone. Not, you can only catch the first monster that you see. Because that's what it said earlier, and if that's the case, that sucks. Because then you're just going to have nothing but the equivalent of Rattatas and Pidgeys all the way down, except for some kind of random doodads. But if you...
Sorry.
What, reading chat or something?
Yeah, they can't spell any of my usernames right.
Do we want to catch the Swarmy, or do we want to try and go for something else?
I thought you had to catch the first thing you saw that was new.
I don't even know. We'll just try catching this Swarmy,
yeah,
presumably.
Try catching the Swarmy. Or is it the first one you encounter? Yeah, we can see. Is it the first of a new type, or is it the first...
Balls.
Okay, well, that's
well, I mean, I've already encountered several Coromon. So, it's the first monster in general that you encounter in the area. So, I would have been forced with the Silkwill. Or was it the... shit, I don't know.
Aww.
Well, I mean... By that rule, then I would have only been able to catch a Silkwill, at which point, like, why bother? Yeah, which would have been another Silkwill. And so that's actually something I would like to talk about, because the developers very well might watch this video. Mm-hmm. It should be, you can catch one monster per zone. Yeah, so can't catch any more. Because it is going to be nothing but unsatisfying, being like, well, I guess I have a gauntlet full of birds. Okay, well, that's disappointing.
In other words, you might want to play on, aside from normal, if you were to go up, you'd probably want to play on...
I mean, to be totally honest, if and when this game comes out properly, I'll probably just play it on easy so we can Mr. Moneybags our way through things.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Mm. You don't level up that often, and the only other benefit is just things are cheaper. So I can just have a shit ton of items. But I suffer from a crippling case of elixir syndrome, so I'm not going to use usable items if I can avoid it anyway. So that kind of balances itself out.
Oh, is this the blacksmith?
Yeah.
It looks like his forge.
Looks like we got to go next.
No.
Next
There's
door.
a door to the right, isn't there?
Oh,
right there.
You're right. Sorry, the side doors are kind of hard to spot.
Mm-hmm. They have
little arrows, but still. Yeah, first encounter per red is direct Nuzlocke rule. I would say this would be a nice way for them to iterate on that. Or, I don't know, introduce that extra option. Because I really do not have... I mean, I'm sure this is to appeal to hardcore Nuzlocke fans, but for me it's just like, man, that mechanic sounds really restrictive and dumb. And I realized, like, yeah, that is the way it is, but I question, does it need to be that way? And people will probably say yes. Oh well. I'm just gonna... probably just...
Was she talking about spending so much of their lives? Just...
Here.
Ah.
Oh, this is just Weird Al.
Man of the land.
Yeah, so that's just straight up a Weird Al song parody there.
Oh, really?
Oh, was there a chest in the house? Yeah, it was Amish Paradise. Strange Al. Fear Scent. I mean, to be totally honest, at this point, we could just stop instead of, like, pushing forward. I think we should do that. We've been going for an hour and a half.
I suppose...
Let's take a look at the next zone, at least.
Well, also, it said that the game wouldn't end until you hit level 23 with your first Coromon, right?
Correct. Well,
so does that mean...
they can't go past 23.
Hey! Over here! On the other side! I'm sorry. Parent is still teaching me how to chop down trees, and now I messed up and a tree fell the wrong way. If only there was someone strong enough to push this out of the way.
Well, I can't figure it out. For now, this has been Coromon. We could play a lot more of this.
I was hoping to at least see one of the legendaries, but...
We're not going to.
Titans, no.
That's... I mean, maybe that's sooner than later, but that's going to take us easily 4 or 5 hours. At this pace. Especially if I can't catch anything new. Because, like, yeah, I could. But we have so many other games to play. Unless you want to spend all of tonight playing Coromon.
Nah, that's true. It's interesting to see what they've made. But it's one of those things where... Oh, someone's trapped. Is that the blacksmith that's trapped in there? I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh.
You have to fight him.
He's trapped by the bezel. So I guess if I had gone for this thing, I would have been able to catch it, maybe. Oh well. Ooh, level 8. But one way or another, just to kind of finish my thing, I still would like to see some new things apart from just, you know, the backgrounds and the different types of monsters. I realize the developers are probably pretty locked in and also fairly interested. I do share the sentiment with people of, like, there is that kind of consistent worry of, like, will Nintendo just come in and nuke this? And the answer is, I doubt they will just immediately nuke this game. But there is that persistent fear, anyway. And it's also kind of one of those where you have to compete with a very established, franchise, even if the franchise is faltering a little bit. Oh, thanks for that. Thought I was gonna. I was just working on this here fence, and then suddenly that beezel snuck up on me. Anyway, thanks for helping me out. Glad I could help. Since you were working on that fence, maybe by any chance the blacksmith Baron? One and only. There's no better blacksmith around. But who's asking? Oh, my country accent's quickly turning into my old man accent. It's a problem. Name's Fergby. I was sent by Professor Spruce to find you. Ah, to have an essence collector installed, I presume. Alright, let's get right to it then. Come on, let's go to my workshop. See, couldn't you have caught that bee? Nope. We can only catch the first monster we encounter per area. And it was a freaking bird. And I didn't want it, so no. Here we are, welcome to the workshop. Fergby! Wow, from the looks of the workshop, you must be quite busy. I sure am. I've been making spinners almost every day and night for the last few weeks. I'm one of the few people working for Lux Solis that's skilled enough to make spinners. So, I've been working hard, but I can help you with your gauntlet. Familiar with Lux Solis technology, so it shouldn't take too long to install the module. Thanks, here's my gauntlet. There's the module. I'll get right to it. Oi! While I work on your gauntlet, why don't you go visit the library? You can pick up some handy handbooks there. Which will surely help you on your adventure. Ask my little brother. He's a real bookworm, that fella. So, he'll know where to find those books. Without your Coromon, it's best if you stay in town anyway. Come back once you've read them all. I'm sure it'll be done by then. That sounds helpful. I'll go check out the library. What, reading? I better get started then. Let's see. So,
you were saying a yokai collector. Wasn't there that yokai game that came out?
Yeah, there's Yokai Watch. I haven't played Yokai Watch.
Yokai Watch.
If they come out with one on the Switch, I'll pick it up and we can see how they stand as far as, like, differences go. Oh, hey, you can see that's one of the perfect ones.
Oh, it's super shiny silver?
Yeah, so, the one caveat to me only being able to catch one Coromon per area is I can catch perfect ones, but they're very rare. So other little bits of feedback, I really liked the difficulty settings at the very beginning of the game, but I honestly wish there were a lot more of them. Like, I would really prefer a built-in randomizer, a built-in, a lot more customization, so instead of just the first monster that you encounter per zone, make it also have an option for, like, you can only catch one Coromon per zone, period. Or, I mean, there's just a bunch of other potential things that you can probably grab. Because if you're going to keep with a game that's very similar to Pokemon, at least take all those mechanics that the fan community has come up with that pretty much Pokemon will never use and implement them, because that would be smart. And I think a randomizer would actually be really fun. Maybe you have to beat the game first to unlock it, or something of the sort. Because I think that would be kind of a neat way of doing things. Anyway, for now, we're going to keep rolling the indie game lightning round. Mainly just because we could spend hours on this, and that would be fun, but I would prefer to actually play this game when it fully comes out, as opposed to, like, spending 5-10 hours now, and then being like, alright, oh good, Coromon came out. If the save had carried over, maybe. And, you know, I would absolutely love, like, a beta period later on where, you know, everything is feature complete but locked to a certain level and, like, progression level. And then, save maybe carries over. That would be lovely. But for now, this is good enough. Can't leave without my Coromon. Oh, right. Anyway. Let us leave. Let us save. There's no saving. That is a lie. You lie. But this was fun.